screen number 2, right? So that will be the best way. And
Yeah,
can you
see.
now see my calculator? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Right. So basically, if I have 6, for example, it's quite interesting that this 6 unit is linked with let me see here. There is really something missing here. Okay, doesn't matter really. All right. So this 6 here, for example, can you see me hovering over 6 there?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So this 6 is linked somehow with, so this grid is so good because I can see the intersection between the price or the cost in rand
Yeah.
with the number of units. So I can see 6 somehow is linked with this, but is it really true? Because remember that when we go up and we look at the intersection between 6 on the grid and
Yeah.
the total
15,000.
curve, it's not really reaching to 15,000. So
Yeah,
it is a graph. It's not perfect, but what maybe
for
I
sure.
can check is to say that, okay, if if 3,750 is linked with 6, can I divide it by 6 to find per unit? You see, it gives me
Yeah.
625, or this is
Mhm.
not really accurate. How will I know the accurate number? I need to look at the break-even point, and luckily it has been provided to us. So they
Yes.
saying you're gonna get your break-even actually when you reach 30 units.
Okay.
Then I say, all right, okay, so 30 units. So that means that if I have 26250, that would be for 30 units,
Yes.
26,250. That will be the intersection between 30 units with 26,250 divided by the 30 units. That's how we found this. So
Okay.
this
Yes.
tells us that that's the price per unit.
Okay.
But if you have, we can test it again. How can we test it? We can take this price per unit, 875, multiply by 30 units. It gives us 26,250. Okay.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but that is speak to our total revenue. Okay. So if you have
Yes.
30 units and you're selling those units at 875, your total is 26,250. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yes.
But it does not really tell us what the cost is.
Mhm.
Because for 30 units, look at 30 units. You can see the 30 unit. If we have
Yes.
to consider the variable cost, where are we going to go? Not on the total curve. Why? Because the total curve consists of the fixed cost curve and the variable cost curve.
Yes.
So you can't find the cost, the variable cost, by looking at the total cost curve. In order for
Yeah.
you to find what is the actual variable cost per unit, how much they spend per unit to produce that product, I need to minus something.
Yeah.
What is that thing
Yeah.
that I need to
Minus
minus?
the fixed cost,
There you go. I
11,800.
like that.
Mm.
I like that. I
Mhm.
like that. So then it will give us the 15,000, and that makes sense because now look at the variable cost curve or line. You can see that 30 units intersect exactly with 15,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's impressive. So now we can say,
Yeah.
okay, for 30, if we have the total variable cost equal 15,000 for 30 units, if we divide that 15,000 divided by 30, we should get what is the variable cost per unit.
Yeah.
So the variable cost per unit will be 500. That makes sense. So basically,
Yeah.
this is the reason for this calculation. So we not only we found the selling price, but we also found the variable cost per unit. Remember
Yeah.
again, the variable cost per unit is a constant. It doesn't change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but remember they were asking us for the net profit, or the
Yeah.
net profit will vary depending on the quantity that you have.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter to us because we know that the total revenue, here it is, the total revenue equals selling price
Times the
minus
quantity.
quantity sold.
Yeah.
So we have the selling price and the quantity sold, we can just call it Q. So that's
Yes.
fine. So we know that 875 times Q, because we
Yeah.
don't know we don't know exactly what is the quantity that we're looking at yet. All right?
For sure.
Because
Yeah.
they might be producing 200 units. They haven't told us that. If they tell us a specific number of units, then we're gonna look at that. Because look at
Yeah.
the sorry, the sub question II. Sorry, it
Yeah.
says
They said,
calculate expected net profit for 450. Okay, that's fine. You gave us the
yeah.
quantity. We're just gonna replace the Q by that quantity of 450.
Yeah.
But with regards to the total cost, they tell
Yes.
us here the total cost, you need to take into account the fixed cost plus the variable cost. Or remember,
Yes.
we know the variable cost, right? How do we get the variable cost? And it says here the total variable cost will be variable cost per unit multiplied by the quantity sold. Or we know the variable cost per unit, right? It's 500.
500. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Multiply by whatever quantity sold, right? We know that the
Yes.
quantity, we just call it Q. So basically what you've just done there, that's a mathematical formula. So let me just show this one. This is the mathematical formula. So you create a mathematical formula. A mathematical formula would have the known and the unknown. That's what the mathematical formula is all about. So if you give
Yeah.
us Q, we're just going to replace the Q in the formula and we obtain, right?
For sure.
So that's this formula now makes sense. We have
Yes. It
fixed.
makes, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes sense, but
Yes.
I'm still, because it says in the formula, it says 11,250, right?
Which is?
Which is your fixed costs, no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then why wouldn't the formula say
Yeah.
net profit is total revenue minus fixed cost?
Why would he not say that? Okay.
Because I don't know if you understand what I mean. Because
No, I get. All right. So let me see
because
if
if
I
we're
can write
taking
you.
it, because it says that total cost is fixed costs plus variable costs, so then wouldn't we have to say 11,250 plus variable cost 500? Oh, we did. Oh my God,
We
I'm so
did.
dumb.
We did. No, 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 no. But don't worry because I do
Probably did.
understand where. No, 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 no. I do understand where you would get wrong. See where you would get
Yeah.
wrong is that you need to start with the actual net profits, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Equal total revenue minus total cost.
Cost. Yeah.
This total cost equal in bracket fixed cost plus variable cost.
Cost.
All right. So now that means total revenue minus the total cost we have replaced, which is fixed cost plus variable cost.
Yeah.
So that's your net profit. So always start by the first formula, then you're starting to break it down. When you are breaking it down,
Yeah.
you are doing mathematics already. So
Yeah.
we know what the total revenue is. Let's break it down
Yes.
again. Equal selling price multiplied
Yeah.
by quantity. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's move again. Minus in bracket, right? Let me just
Fixed
see if
cost.
I can. Uh, for just a second. It seems like, oh, I can see. It's now disappearing, which is good. Just wanted to have this right. Am I seeing better? Right.
Yeah.
So then it will be fixed cost. You're correct within the bracket. But now we need
Mm-hmm.
to replace the variable cost, right? The variable
Mm-hmm.
cost equal variable cost per unit, right?
Yeah.
Per unit. Let me put it this way. Multiply by the
Quantity.
quantity, because you need to look at the quantity. Basically, that's your formula.
Yeah.
That's this exactly.
Okay.
So it will always confuse you when you don't break it down. So it's
Yeah.
you're correct to ask this, and in fact, we can also share with the rest of the class. You need to look at the breaking down. Do you understand now why I was saying easy that it does actually not require you to memorize these formulas, because you just need
For
to know how
sure.
to break them down. Once you
Yeah.
understand the formula, you will never ask for actually the formula in the exam, because you know
Yeah.
what that means. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
a very good question. I'm glad that I recorded this because
Yeah.
I knew it was about the breaking down. So basically, that speaks to the actual question that we have here, because the question say, what is create a mathematical formula? And therefore,
Yes.
you actually by this you can now create your own mathematical formula.
Formula. Okay. Fine.
Perfect.
Makes
So
sense now.
basically, for example, for Q quantity, you don't need to put Q. You could say X.
Yeah.
It
You
doesn't
could do
matter.
whatever.
But as long as you know that that's the unknown part that
Yeah.
it need to be provided to you, like in II, it says calculate the expected net profit if 450 unit. Then
Yes.
Q will be replaced by 450, and then you do the calculation. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Amazing.
mean for the rest of the class also, if you're going through this recording, just check. I would want to start the calculation on your calculator. You do what is in the bracket first. You do the calculation there,
Yes.
fixed
Yeah.
cost, and then you take the total revenue. You do the calculation. Then you minus the total revenue from the total cost. That's way to make it simple, because it's a long formula. So you need
Yeah.
to understand the breaking down of the formula.